Welcome to TVC Breakfast Saturday, where we'll bring all the nitty-gritty of the program this morning. Promises to be interesting, educative, and informative. Everything you put your hand, go work. That's coming from Timi Dakolo. A very good morning to you, Olamide. I am Emmanuel Ajayi.
And I am Olamide Adeyemi. Good morning, Emmanuel. You seem to be in high spirit today.
Very, very nice spirit. It's a new month, the first day of the month. And Timi Dakolo is there saying that everything you put your hand there, go work.
It's another new month, and it's another opportunity for us to make better decisions and also experience better opportunities. And according to the singer, everything we put our hands upon this month will work.
Will definitely work. And I'm praying for everyone out there that things will definitely come your way, good things.
Amen, Pastor.
Okay.
Amen.
More money in your account.
Amen.
More favor.
When we are done,
more
we'll
prosperity. And well, when we are done, we definitely go to church. I'm sounding like a prophet this morning.
I receive it.
It is TVC Breakfast Saturday, and we're here to serve you better this week, and it's a new month, and we pray that whatever you lay your hands upon, it will definitely work and bring more progress, and Nigeria will be great and great and great. Earlier this week, we saw some students singing the national anthem. Well, let's take a listen to this particular development, talking about Nigeria, we hail thee. Very interesting. They're coming from the student. They're reciting the new national anthem, and reactions are still trailing. The signing of the old national anthem into law 1 year after into his administration, President Bola Tinubu oversees his first rendition by saying this will foster brotherhood among Nigerians and enhance peace, unity in the country.
Out the latest national anthem. Nigeria will hail thee, representing all characters and how we blend together.
President of the country there, President Bola Tinubu. Earlier, you saw students already singing the national anthem with confidence and delight. So, have you learned the new national anthem? It's a big question on the program this morning. Joining us via Zoom from Ibadan, your state capital, Associate Professor, Reader and Director, Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning from the University of Ibadan. I'm talking about Dr. Adedoyin Aguoru. Many thanks for joining us on the program this morning. Let's start with this particular one. Have you learned the national anthem at this time?
Well, I'm on it. I think I'm not doing badly.
You are not doing badly. All right. So what do you make of this development coming at this time that we are now changing from what was perceived as old, now the new national anthem?
Well, I think it's an interesting development because the only thing that I'm sure of that we know that is constant is change. So we shouldn't see it as something beyond what it is. Change.
Well, change is the constant thing. Many Nigerians have been saying this is another avenue to distract Nigerians from looking at the issues in the country, talking about the inflation rate and many other developments in the country. That why the national anthem being changed at this time?
Oh, well, of course, I'm not part of the decision makers, those who took the decision. But I just want to look at it from maybe another angle. and I want to see it from the point of maybe troubleshooting a system. Most Nigerians think that the anthem, if it is any problem at all, that it's not the fundamental problem, or at least there are more urgent problems: famine, hunger, starvation, rising cost of living, and all of that. But I think it's important for us to make a clear distinction between what is urgent and what is important. Usually what is urgent is usually not as important as what is important. And usually what is important is usually shelved for what is urgent. At times you have something that is both urgent and important. So I want to see it from that point of view, that perhaps what the leadership of this nation is looking at is something more fundamental, which is the nationalist spirit, which, I think is more represented in this anthem. I mean, having examined the two closely, that's what I think.
And the idea of, changing this anthem was to sort of bring a sense of national identity, national unity. You are a professor of a center which focuses on learning. This means that you understand the power of some of these words. How significant is this change, and especially looking at the lyrics as compared to the former one?
I think we lost connection with Dr.
Adedoyin.
Okay, so if you want to look at
back.
it...
Okay, you can go on with the line of thought.
Okay, all right. So I said that I would like to look at things from the point of view of maybe the theoretical position, for instance, of nationalism, and as it, as we can see it in the lyrics of the music. So, I mean, as you also wanted me to, I look at this as pieces of poetry, the words, as well as the stanza, the idea itself as a piece of art. Now, if you look at the former, the other anthem, because I don't think that we have trashed that anthem, you'll find that it just says, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obeyed, to serve our fatherland." And that first part is just to say, get up, compatriots, Nigerians, and then obey the call to serve your fatherland. And there, I think that first line focuses more on service. Then the labor of our heroes past, joint experience that is shared, shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and might one nation that is bound in freedom, peace, and unity. The second stanza is more of a prayer, supplicating, talking about the God of creation, that is to direct the noble course which we're already on, and it should guide our leaders right. So I see that in the second stanza, this dominant thought is about guidance, and then some kind of encouragement towards love, honesty, just living, and then attaining great heights. But if we look at this other newly approved anthem, I first of all found out that it was already published in the Baptist hymnal. And of course, a lot of information has been flying around. And then, so there's a Yoruba version of it that you have, that I will refer to later. But I think when I saw this, what I saw was that if you're a Baptist, just open your Yoruba hymn book to 466 and you will see the Old National Anthem there. That means that it has been documented and then translated. And I want to believe that maybe other versions or other dialects of, or other ethnic groups would also have done the same with that and put in the Baptist hymnal. But so let's look at this. The first stanza says, "Nigeria will hail thee." And then that first line, Nigeria is being personified as if it's a being. Our own dear native land. There's also that eulogizing, the land. Though tribe and tongue will differ, and we know that that is the major conflict that is arising from the legacy of artificial boundaries that, during the partitioning of Africa. So we know that there's a major conflict that arises from time to time as a result of the difference in tribe and tongue. But it's saying after that that in brotherhood we stand, which means that it's signifying unity, that we should stand together, be united, and Nigerians are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. So, which means that that other essence of unity service is also brought in. But you see, in this first stanza, we can see the personification of Nigeria, which means we can see Nigeria as a being. Also means that we understand our problems. Then it also means that we're encouraging ourselves to be united and then united to serve. Then the second stanza, that this flag shall be a symbol. And you know what a symbol is? A national, in this context, a token, a totem, or a nationalistic symbol, that represents something that all of us can, identify with. And it says, truth and justice should reign. So you also find the context of fairness, and that we should be eager to be at peace in spite of battle. Then to hand,
Just a moment, Dr. Adedoyin. Looking at all the lyrics in this particular anthem, how will this resonate the spirit of unity among Nigerians? And that is very crucial at this time.
Okay, you see, my observation, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this administration in particular has appeared to me to be more theoretical in its understanding of the national issues, and then, of course, from theory to practice. Because I also look at this as an issue of, what I, titled this when I was thinking about it, is the significance of the national anthem, and I'm looking at it as the Nigerian anthem as national identity. Now, we know that nationalism itself was used as a, as an ideology for the attainment of independence in 1960. Prior to that time, we know that at least about 110 years ago, Nigeria was together by Lord Regard, and then we find that people had to coexist. Now and even then, the issue of colonialism had always been a problem that people grappled with. And with the nationalist spirit, which was, it manifested in several ways, people began to think we don't have to bear, the names of the imperialists. We don't have to do things in a particular way. We need to, celebrate our culture and so on and so forth. All those were, deliberate and intentional steps that were made then towards nationalism. And then most of what happened then was that we began to have indices like the cry for national language, national costume, national curriculum, national role models, national prosperity, and things like that. And then, so that spirit of nationalism is what I think that this administration is trying to revive. And that when you say something or sing something long enough, it begins to find expression in you. So even the idea of the fact that national treasures, so when you see an anthem as a national treasure, you see a national troop, you hear about national heroes, national uniforms, you know that there's something, that there's a spirit of unity, there's a spirit of togetherness that comes in when people have that spirit, that nationalist spirit, which is, as I have said earlier, an ideology, which is expected to be the strongest political ideology that can be used to drive a people to do, something that is in the interest of the nation, or things that are in the interest of the nation.
Talking about driving people to do things that are in the interest of the nation, it's a different thing to, sing this song. It's another different thing to internalize it. In what means can we ensure that Nigerians inculcate the meaning, especially to achieve the motive of changing the anthem?
Well, I think that it's possible, as I've said, the lyrics itself is instructive. And I think that if we see it from that point of view, people will have a change of attitude. There's a lot of uproar and displeasure. This is not what we need. But as I said, I think that the current administration has seen that an average Nigerian no longer has that nationalist spirit, and it plays out in several ways. So if that is what the administration is hoping to achieve, that means there might be other things that they have in mind or in as a plan, that is yet to manifest. But that if we get this right, so as I said, it's like you're troubleshooting a system. When you first understand that the psyche of the people were no longer together the way we used to be. And you recall that by the time I was born, we were no longer singing Nigeria We Hail Thee, and that was the early 70s. So even at that point, I grew up singing Arise, O Compatriots. And then if the nationalist spirit that was so strong pre-independence is no longer as strong or is no longer there, I think it's possible for this administration to do something about it, to have a strategy and then have a nationalist vision that is ingrained, through the national anthem, even the pledge itself. These are things that nations use to instill that sense of identity in their people, in their nationals. So I think it's possible. Sing it, and you see the way the children have been singing it, teachers, BBC, everyone. So I believe that in a short while, people will adjust. But my own opinion also is that you will see that it's not only in Nigeria. For instance, last year, Canada had a lot of issues about what to change, words and so on and so forth, sentences, even in their national anthem. And then there was a lot of conversation going on. I think what Nigerians may want to also do is to, make sure that the government is accountable. How do you want to achieve this? So it's not that, okay, we change the anthem and then everything then there's some kind of magic that takes place afterwards. But that in spite of all the troubles, if we have a nationalist spirit and we use this national identity, place it before us, us as a people and as peoples, it's possible for us to continue in that spirit and achieve more than, we can ever imagine. So, and I think that that's what Nigerians really need to, to think about, how to make it possible, and then how to hold the government accountable since this has been initiated, with that spirit in mind.
Dr. Adedoyin, whether we like it or not, some Nigerians are still aggrieved about the change of this national anthem. Section 24 of the 1999 Constitution states that Nigerians should respect ideas and identity, and also talking about the national anthem of the country. What do you make of those who are still disrespecting the national anthem, saying that it's a no-no for them?
So, as I said, change is sacrosanct, but definitely people do not like change. All of us. You want to change something, and then you're sure that almost 90%, if not more, of any group of people would say no because they're already used to it. They're already used to it, and then they want to query. So that's just natural. I would think, as I said, that those who feel strongly about it should do something strategic. Raise another bill, for instance, and then show us something superior to that. So I don't think just talking about it and complaining and lamenting is going to change anything. It's been passed into the law, and then schools we see all these primary schools, people have already taking it up even prior to that time. And then from my own point of view, there are lots of people who even prior to this administration had been saying that anthem was better than the one that we had then, And usually the reason I even got to know about the Nigerian We Hail Thee anthem is because each time there's going to be a protest, when I was young, you hear students come together and start singing Nigeria We Hail Thee. Even workers, not just students. So there's something that we can always do, even if we have a different opinion. There's a better way to go about it than just complaining, because usually those complaints will fizzle out anyway. So if you have a very convincing position, then put it where it should be, not just talking about it, complaining, lamenting, and I give you 1 month, we move on to other things. So, well, and I think that's the point from which most of the decisions the government takes, comes from, because they're sure that once it's been passed to law, people will make a lot of noise, and then after that, we move on.
Well, the complaint is coming on the yardstick of the economy, revamping the economy, the insecurity in the country. That's why some of these Nigerians are definitely complaining, looking at the price of commodities in the market. That why at this time we're changing when things are not moving in place?
Okay, as I said, I'm not invited to hold brief for the government, but I still want to ask, what has this cost anybody? Perhaps I wonder what it has cost in terms of, so even if this was not done, if we didn't have to learn another anthem, and I'm not sure anybody's going to hold, a rifle to our heads to say, you don't know this, your hands up, So what is it going to cost? I mean, that's it. What has it cost the country to change this? Except maybe we are not aware that the bill also, the monies that could have been pumped into other sectors have been used to, create this change, in terms of, approving this anthem for use for now. So I still believe that, and I said, this is my opinion. Having gone through these two anthems, even gone through the Yoruba anthem, and I'm looking at, even the, I think it's possible, because as you know, I'm also in the humanities. When you say something long enough, it sinks. And I think that the nationalist spirit is what the government is trying to promote. Nationalism as it was then. If we could come together as a people and say we can run this nation ourselves, we don't need to bear English names. We don't need to use the English curriculum. We don't need to wear English clothes, and so on and so forth. And then we were able to do it. You see how the culture, thrives, and so many other aspects. I think other aspects of this economy can also change when the spirit is right. When individuals separate themselves from the national goal, they don't put in the efforts that they would have if they saw it as a nationalist spirit and that the nation was their nation. So I think that that's what this anthem can achieve if the government is also going to be sincere enough to action these words.
Okay, very interesting. The government should action the words and ensure that things get more better in the country. But before we let you go, you've been an advocate for bridging the gap, gender gap in the academia. Can you just, in just 1 minute, tell us more about this particular development?
Will you say that again?
Well, you've been an advocate for bridging the gap in gender gap in the academia. Can you tell us more about what you are doing concerning this development at this time?
Okay. Oh, well, continuity, basically. Because I think sometime last year, my observation, having rubbed minds with other women, at the Gender Institute, the Codestra Gender Institute, is that most of the efforts that are being made by women across fields of study and professions usually appears to dwindle at some point when that generation, is transiting. And that it's really important to cultivate a new set of, or a new group of people per time who can share that vision and who can sustain the vision. So whether it's in the academia, because, gender issues and gender studies are quite hydra-headed, wherever it is, I think the most important thing is for us to have that continuity, sustain it, and then not play identity politics, It's important for us to know what roles we need to play, even in this nationalist, adventure. It's important for women to know the roles they need to play.
Okay.
And there's a continuity, even from the Funmilayo Ransome Kuti years till now. There should be something that links, the generations of women.
It's a fine place to live
business.
At this time.
Yeah.
Associate Professor, Reader and Director, Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, University of Ibadan, Dr. Adedoyin Aguoru. Many thanks for joining us on the program this morning.